So thanks, Mark. For those of you that I haven't had a chance to introduce myself, I'm Richard Peake. I've worked for the commercial division of Nextbase for around about the last 5.5 years now. Probably known Mark for probably last 2 or 3 years, and we've happily worked on Project Edward together. So what am I going to take you through today? So I'm going to take you through the presentation. We'll look at the role that dashcams can play in improving our fleet strategy and safety and efficiency, together with reducing collisions and casualties on UK roads. There'll also be a short section at the end for any questions that you've got, but I think if you've got any, then just put your hand up or indicate, and we'll take them as we go through. So it's probably no great surprise to any of you out there to say that it's a big bad world, and let's have a look at some statistics that backs that up. So every 22 minutes somebody is killed or seriously injured on UK roads. So to put that into perspective, within 10 minutes of me finishing with you today, someone will be going home. And I still say that when we were working on a project with the Highways Agency and Mark, the fact that we would have undoubtedly saved lives and somebody would have gone home at the end of their day is still probably the proudest achievement that I've had in my career, because, not to put too fine a point on it, I buy something and I sell stuff. That's what I do in my career. And so when anyone ever asks me, well, what's the proudest thing that you've achieved, that's certainly going to be up there in my top 3. Yeah, I digress. So there's been 170 crash for cash, or what I call white collar claims, over the course of the last 15 months, and it's said that adds approximately £50 to everybody's premium. Obviously, if you multiply that by a reasonable size fleet, then you have a reasonable amount of money that you could be saving. So 1 in 3 company cars are involved in an accident annually, with 73,000 business drivers injured each year, and 25% of all road accidents involve somebody driving for work. Serious stuff, and we all understand our duty of care obligations. You're probably far more aware of those than I am. But in terms of harm and loss where the workplace is concerned, but hey, look, the theme for today is how we can use dashcam technology to drive that safety and efficiency. So whilst I realise there's a whole plethora of options that are open to us, we've looked at some today: telematics tracking, journey planning, fuel efficiencies, driving training, etc., etc. What are the options out there, and indeed, what are my duty of care and what are my obligations and responsibilities where duty of care in the workplace is concerned? So hey, we've gone out there, we've gone and bought ourselves a set of shiny dash cams. I'm now going to go through the 2 or 3 key benefits that I see to having dash cams in your vehicles. So for the sake of today, I'll assume that everybody here understands what dash cams are, how they operate, and the basics of what they offer. So for today, I'd like to focus on those key areas, and perhaps the most obvious one, and the one that we'll have a look at, is the financial and the commercial benefits of having a dash cam in your vehicle. So they say that the claim times are radically reduced, as you would imagine. But let's talk about let's talk about pounds, shillings, and pence. There are up to 30% reductions in your premiums, and also meaning that the vehicle is back on the road earning that much quicker. But there's also, and we've talked about a number of them today, which are real benefits from an emotional and from a financial perspective. So the reason, of course, is for this is that most insurers see the real value of dashcam technology. We'll have a look at some of the information, some of the data pack that is generated from the dashcam a little later on. But just to give you some idea of the insurers out there that are offering key savings: Constructor Quote, AutoNet, Admiral, Diamond, LV, AXA, Swift Cover. The list pretty much goes on, and all of these insurers will offer a discount if you have dashcams in your fleet. At this point, I'd like to point out that on the back of the success that we've had with our consumer insurance product, I'm told and absolutely promised that sorry, hang on a minute. Let's go back a little bit. Let's stop there for a second. So on the back of the success that we've had on the consumer insurance side of things, later on in the year we will be offering our own Nextbase commercial product insurer offering. That, I'm told, will be able to save around about 30% on your premiums for each of the vehicles in your fleet. Also, as part of remaining in the room and listening to me today, I thought it was worth pointing out that I've set up a Brooklands 25 discount on all of our Nextbase products. So when you're checking out on the nextbase.com website, you can enjoy a 25% discount. So do make a note of that in the book, Brooklands 25. Shame there's a bit of selling there, but there you go. You didn't really expect me to turn up and not try and sell something. I've already told you I'm a salesman.
I did ask you to, though.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. So I promised you 3 sets of benefits. So, and it's interesting, I've had a couple of conversations before coming in here today, and I think these are the 2 really, really interesting benefits, which is that of accountability. And I've put here, suddenly we're accountable for our actions. And I had a dash cam put in the vehicle almost day one of when I started at Nextbase, and it's the most sobering experience if you see your own behaviour. I very quickly turned off the microphone of my particular dash cam and kind of thought I really must regulate the language that I use when we're all in our steel box, because that's what it is, isn't it? We're all in our little in our little castle, and if we see something that we don't like, then there are languages and there are hand signals that go with most of the language that we use. So I guess one of the key things that I wanted to point out as part of accountability, of course, is that your footage can be used against you. And I think that suddenly, with all joking aside, that suddenly has a very serious connotation to what we're looking at. So, say for example, something happens out there on the roads. You end up pulling over and the police attend, and they see that there is dashcam footage, then they can request that footage, even if that doesn't paint you in the most positive light. And then, of course, this kind of takes me on to an area which is education, and I pointed it out when somebody asked a question earlier, which was improving those standards of driving and behaviour on our roads is to everyone's benefit. And about 3 years ago, we were heavily involved with the National Dashcam Safety Programme, and that was designed to highlight incidences where the police are not present to enforce those proper standards. And of course, speed cameras, and of course we all slow down for speed cameras, and then the moment you move over the hill, you quicken up, right? So the National Dashcam Safety Portal was designed so that we can all police, in inverted commas, the roads, and it's not just going to be paying lip service to that slowing down and trying to educate everybody as to their responsibilities when they get behind the wheel of their car. So we were, as well as doing the National Dashcam Safety Portal, we also, as I mentioned, worked with the highways agencies on the Project Edward, which was a fantastic project which I'm hoping that we'll be invited to play future parts in. But also we're also playing a part in the Institute of Advanced Motorists Road Smart. So very shortly we will be offering a free module to anybody taking on dash cams, so that we can go to our insurers and say to somebody, hey look, not only has somebody made the choice to buy a road safety product, they have also completed the Institute of Advanced Motorists modules, and so we are presenting somebody that has made some really, really good positive decisions where an insurer would look at that very favourably. So, what has Nextbase got to offer in all of this? Well, about 5 years ago, we launched our 380GW dashcam. I'm not here, and I know I've joked about it, but I'm not here to pitch necessarily these products. I'm here to promote and to pitch dashcam safety. However, How do these products differ to some of our consumer products? Well, I mentioned to you earlier about the insurers absolutely loving this technology. You can send pretty much everything that you would imagine: speed, location, light conditions, weather conditions, G-forces, everything as part of the data pack, as well as the obvious footage, can be sent from the scene. So any incident that happens out there on the roads there could be a pre-cropped version of that 10 seconds before the incident itself and 10 seconds afterwards, and that can be sent from the scene to either an insurer, to the National Dashcam Safety Portal, to the police, or to the fleet manager in question. Also, we are one of the only dashcams that is approved for fitting in all of these key manufacturers. So you can be sure that when you need that footage, it's going to be there. So what have we looked at today? Well, we've looked at the big bad world out there, as I put it. I've given you some statistics on the world in which we drive our vehicles and our fleets. We then looked at some of the key benefits. So we looked at that financial, which was perhaps the most obvious, and financial and commercial benefits. But also we looked at education and accountability as part of those. Then we also looked at some of the products that Nextbase can do. I promised you the details of the promotional code, which is down at the bottom, and obviously watch this space when we get to Q3 of later on this year, when we will be offering a special commercial and fleet insurer product. Thank you. Any questions?
Fantastic, thank you, Richard. I'd just like to point out the small print is that we are, of course, supplier agnostic.
Told you, I sound stuck.
Yeah, I know. I have to say, though, we've got a terrific working relationship with Nextbase, following on from the Project Edward support that they gave us. And it's probably worth flagging one of the exercises we're working on at the moment is the development of something we've been doing down in the southwest of the country on the A38 corridor, which is one of our more hazardous A roads. People tend to associate us just with the motorways, but clearly we've got an awful lot of A road that we cover off as well, and that was working with local organisations down there to add dash cams to their fleet, partly with a view to protecting their vehicles from crash for crash and all those kind of things, but actually also to feed any footage of dangerous driving behaviours that they observed into the police operation SNAP down there, which is their method for collecting evidence from dash cams, which has been really positive. What has been interesting with it is, we got the kind of benefits we were hoping for and looking for in terms of, to be fair, only slightly increasing the amount of footage that was going into Snap, but we got a massive amount of PR around it and really shined a light on some of the dangers on that particular road and the risks which were posed by some fairly extreme errant driver behaviours down there. So that was really positive. It wasn't lost on the drivers who were getting the dash cams on the vehicles as well. That actually shined an equal light on the way that they behaved. Most of them hadn't worked out that they could switch the microphone off, it has to be said. But it was a positive exercise all round, to be honest, and we're just in the process of rolling a similar programme out on 3 or 4 A roads around the country and engaging with the various police forces around there just to really, as I say, hopefully encourage better behaviours on some of those roads. So thank you. Richard, have you got any questions for Richard before he disappears off? Maybe what the discount code was again, in case you didn't catch it the 6th time you mentioned it. Okay, great.
Is there not one for everybody in the audience?
There's a discount code.
That's what they do in Ireland.
Do that.
Yeah, right. I must have missed.
Come and see me. I've got a suitcase in the back of my van.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. Perfect. Okay, so end of the day. Apologies for being a speaker down. We've got through a hell of a lot, haven't we, in the hours that we've been here. So thank you for your attention and your forbearance. That brings the conference to an end now. You've probably twigged the presentations have been recorded. So not only will we circulate the presentations themselves, but you'll get access to the recordings once they've all been processed. So I'd just like to take the opportunity, one, to thank the presenters, but also to thank yourselves for taking the time out today and surmounting some fairly difficult travel conditions as well. So thanks very much, and yeah, thanks for coming. Safe journey home, everybody.